Many of you asked how I made the little envelope purses, the one that you saw in the prom dress. I wanted to give you an overview of some of the collections of little purses that I've made. These purses were made to match the outfit. So for every purse that you see, I either have a dress. Most of these are dresses. Like in this case, this one is a top. It's a really cool top. This one is a cool top. And the rest of them are all dresses. And they match my dresses perfectly. So you can imagine when you step up in a ball or a party and you have a purse under your arm or in your hand that matches your dress, you know you have got the cool factor and everybody is going to be watching you tonight. I'm going to show you in this video how simple it is to make these purses, and you can be creative. And the one that I'm going to show you today is going to be the simple envelope purse. As you remember in the video, I did one and it had the rosette on the top. So I'm going to be showing you how to make the simple purse with the rosette. And what I've done on a lot of them is I will add, you know, depending on how fancy the party is or how dressy it is, I may add a strap, maybe like a rhinestone strap as I did in this case. In some cases, I'll do a strap that is the same as the fabric of the purse itself. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. And the wonderful thing about the purses that have the straps, and so they just have Velcro to Velcro them together, is you can take the strap and put the strap down inside. So if you want to turn it into a clutch purse, there you've got the clutch purse that you can have in your hand. Or if you're feeling like you want to throw it on your shoulder, now you have the strap. So let's get started on how to make the simple envelope clutch purse. We're going to start at the ironing board. I'm just going to go ahead and use a scrap piece of fabric that I just had in my little sewing kit. And this is a very nice polyester shantung. You want to find out just how big you want your purse to be. There is no wrong way to do this, guys. You can just have fun with it. Do whatever size that you want, that you like, and that makes you happy. So here's my fabric, and I'm just going to kind of guess at the size. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut 2 pieces of your fabric. You want to cut your purse a little wider than the finished product because you got to have seam allowances and you got to be able to turn it and stitch it down. So what I like to do is I like to fold the fabric over so that I can see about how wide I want my purse to be. So I think I want it to be about that deep, maybe a little bit deeper, maybe about like that. So since this is the depth that I want, I'm going to do this 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and I'm going to fold it over 1 more time for 3. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut across. Okay, so now I want to figure out what I want my purse to look like. So you just kind of turn it like this and just kind of pretend. Now if you want your purse that size, then that's where you cut it. So I think I'm going to do that because I'm going to make this one a little bit larger. So I'm just going to cut it. And I'm cutting through all layers. You're going to take one piece and kind of lay it off on the side. Now this is where you're going to need your interfacing. And the more interfacing you put, the more layers, the thicker your purse is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out. And like I said, you notice I'm doing all of this right at my ironing board. So you don't really need a special table to do this. You don't need a lot of room. And you're going to take your, now this becomes your pattern. You're going to lay it on top of your interfacing. And I have my interfacing doubled. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of the interfacing. So now we've got 2 layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay those layers off on the side. And I'm going to cut 2 more. So now I have my 4 layers cut out of my interfacing. So since I'm going to be using the matted side of my fabric, you see the shiny and the matte, I'm going to take my interfacing and I'm going to layer it down, and I'm going to iron it down 1 layer at a time. Follow the directions on your interfacing as to what temperatures and how long you iron it down. So now you're going to lay your top layer down, and you're going to lay it down with right sides together. Now we're ready to sew our purse, and we've got it right sides together. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew in a U shape. You're going to sew on one side all the way down, over and back up. Very simple. And I'm sewing a simple 5/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, now we've got it sewn from top to bottom, so you got a little opening in there now. That's what you want. So what we're going to do now is you're going to trim your corners, and trim your corners, cross at an angle, and trim the other corner at an angle. And now you want to trim the excess fabric. And you want to trim that all the way around. Now we've got all the edges trimmed. What you want to do now is you're going to turn your purse. You're going to turn it and make sure that you get your corners poked out really good, because this part where the corners are, that's going to be the outer portion, or this portion right here of your purse. So you want to turn it. So now we've got it turned. So what you want to do now is go to your ironing board and press this down flat. I've got it pressed down nice and neat, as you can see. So now you want to finish off the top. And you're really just making a rectangle. And what I'm going to do on the top, because this is going to be on the inside, is I'm going to turn down about a 1/2 inch all the way around. And I'm going to press that down. So I pressed it down. You're going to take this portion that you just pressed and do a top stitch. So now there is the base for our purse. You just take the top portion, or the portion that you just did the top stitch. It goes up to the top. It goes up to the top like this. And that comes down, and now you have the envelope. I've got my leftover fabric that I had to cut out the purse with. And we're going to do the strap. You make the strap as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. So I'm just going to freehand cut a piece of strap. Not going to too much worry about how big it is. And we're going to sew that for the strap. Now for the rosette, I'm going to make it a little bit wider. But I'm going to do the exact same thing for the rosette. I'm just going to cut a wider strap. So this is probably about 3 inches wide. And this is probably about 1.5 inches as far as the strap goes. We're going to do the strap first. And you want to measure and see how long you want your strap. So I'm going to use this one as a pattern. And you see there's nothing to it. Make your strap as long or as narrow as you want. So I think that's going to be good enough for me. So I'm just going to cut it. See, don't you love this project? There is nothing formal about it. It's very informal. I got my strap made. So now I'm going to use my fast turning tubes. And you can watch my video on how to use these. But I won't show you now because we've gone through that before. I turned the strap and I pressed it so that, if you notice, the seam is on the inside of the strap. I also took my strip of fabric from my rosette and I lightly pressed it. As you notice, I didn't really crease it. I just kind of bumped it to give it a nice little fold, but I didn't want it crisp because you want your flower to have some fullness or thickness to it. So now we're going to use the ruffler foot to make our ruffle for our rosette. So you'll have to check that video out as well. So I have my ruffle done with my ruffler. So now I'm going to make the rosette. So you might want to check out my video on how to do fabric rosettes to see how we're going to finish the rosette up. Now we're ready to construct our purse. We have the components for our purse. We have our rosette. We have our fabric base for our purse. And we have our strap. Now before we actually start sewing up the purse, we need to put our closures. And my closure is just a little piece of Velcro. And I just cut a little square or rectangle piece. And what you want to do, remember where you stitch the top stitching? The fold edge or the clean edge is going to be the outer portion of the purse. So what you want to do at this time is fold your purse up. You can make it as long as you want and have a little narrow flap like this. Or you can make it where the flap comes way down to here. So I'm going to kind of fold this down. And I want my purse to be like that. You want to press the purse down flat on the ironing board. And you can press the top portion. Don't press it too hard. But you really want to press this bottom portion flat. So I'm going to press the whole purse flat so I'll have my fold lines in place. I'm pressing the bottom half nice and flat. But I did a light pressing on the top. And when you do that, when you open it up, you see now you have these fold lines on the outside as well as the inside. And it tells you exactly where your purse gets folded. This is also called hook and loop tape. So I always like to put the meld or the rough portion on the actual flap. And if you want to, you can do a whole piece of Velcro all across. You can do one on the end and one on that end. You can do 1, 2, 3. In my case, I'm just doing the one. So I'm going to put my Velcro right there in the middle and I'm going to stitch around it. So you notice mine ain't quite centered, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. So we're going to fold this over and you're going to fold this down. It doesn't matter because the rosette's going to cover it up anyway. So you want to mark where your Velcro is, and mine is about right here. So I'm going to position the female section of my Velcro right here. And you're going to do the same thing and sew it down as well. And now we've got both pieces of the Velcro sewn in place. So you're going to fold this up and Velcro it over. And there is your purse base, but now you still got to close up your sides. So you open the top up. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew through all thickness. And you're going to sew these two together right on the edge. And this is where it gets really thick. Right at the opening, you want to make sure you backspace or backstitch several times to make sure when you're putting your hand in the purse, you don't tear that. Now, if you wanted your purse without a strap, then your purse is done. You just have to attach your rosette. But like I said, I'm adding the straps, so I'm going to show you how to do the straps. And you notice my straps are raw. I didn't even finish them because, like I said, this is a project that nobody's going to really see the straps. So I'm going to sew the straps. Just open the flap up a little bit, and I'm going to sew the strap right close to the edge. And I'm going to do it like in a box shape stitch so that I get all of the strap itself sewn down. My strap is sewn down, so now I can just fold this over. And you see there's our lovely strap to go along with that purse. And if you don't want to use the straps, just tuck them inside. There you have the best of both worlds. You have the clutch without the strap. So let's attach a flower. I'm just taking a needle and thread. I like to go ahead and anchor into my strap first. You want to kind of center it so it's pretty much in the middle. And I always like to make sure my rosette, instead of doing it like that, I like my rosette to hang off a little bit. So I'm going to open the purse and I'm just going to attach it to the back of the purse. Nothing fancy, just a couple of little stitches. So I finished, so I'm going to come out on the other side. And I'm just going to anchor. And voila, we're done. And you just kind of shape up your rosette, and it don't have to be perfect. And there is your pretty little rosette purse. So I hope that you try this project. It was very fun and it was rewarding, and I hope you make a ton of these to match all of your outfits. Happy sewing!